deliver the message, especially to remote areas, especially to the rural area, and most importantly, to give up-to-date information that can easily become very, very educative. I was waking up this morning to see the crime of two people gone dead in Australia. And we know that there is a World Cup going on, which has kickstarted today. Nigeria is going to be playing. We're going to be talking about that. So when it comes to the media like ours, we can only be grateful that we still have our loyal listeners that are ready to listen to us whenever we are live on the program.
That's why I say that thank you very much to each and every one of you on all of the various platforms listening to us. It is because of you that we are able to come here and come and sit. If not, there will be no point in being here. But the globe, or the world, has become a global village, and wherever we are able to share with you what we are seeing, and you are able to share with us as well. So let's keep on doing that. And thank you once again. But a quick one is review of what happened yesterday on the Niger Voices, and then we can come to the substantive issues that we have to be looking at. Over to you, John.
Well, Niger Voices is a program that we decided, to talk about, what Nigerians are facing, not just Nigerians at home, most also the diaspora. We have millions of Nigerians that are currently outside. Even if you are in Benin Republic, Togo, Ghana, you are still put and classified as a diaspora. And this was the reason why myself and the producer and the team came up to call it Niger Voices. Even though, fast track 5 years down the line, the program still goes on air every Wednesday. Even while we were in Nigeria, we were running that program so that we keep in touch with what is happening, globally as well. But yesterday, the focus again went back to the 8,000 naira that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is promising Nigerians. That has now been put on hold. And the question yesterday was, is Bola Tinubu going to be a government that listens as against, Buhari, the former president, that refused to listen to Nigerians? But it seems that what Bishop Adeshina, our analyst, told us yesterday is that it is just the ethos of the Yorubas, because the Yorubas are called Omoluabi because they listen. So Bola Tinubu, being a Yoruba man, is only doing exactly part of what we call the culture of the Yoruba that will listen. And that is why he has kept it to be a review. We talked about some other areas as well. Most importantly, how Nigerians will be able to live on the 8,000 naira, or should we say that President Bola Tinubu will come back and increase that? We also talked about the 50 million farmers that should benefit from the fertilizer and the grain from the government. But the real question is, out of the 130 million Nigerians that are living in abject poverty, do we literally say that 12 million will be pulled out from this 8,000? And some people went out to say, after 6 months, then what happened? And the question is still a question, and there's never an ending to the current situation. Bola Tinubu is still less than 50 days into his government, but already there seems to be pressure from almost every corner of the country, and part of that pressure will determine the fuel subsidy that was removed. More marketers are expected to bring in, what is called the fuel into the country, but someone disagree that there will be any changes. And that is Omoyele Sowore. We're hoping that we might have him with us, sometime very soon. He's been on the Star Radio UK, during his campaign trail in 2019. But the difference is that Sowore believes that this game that the government is playing is just mind game to Nigerians. And I'm trying to see if we can give you the soundtrack of what Omoyele Sowore actually said during, one of his conversations that I picked up, and this was just less than 24 hours. Let's listen to a little bit of what Sowore said in that interview.
This is Tinubu's government. It's Yahoo government too. Do you know who owns Mata? It's Tinubu's mother. That Abiba too, Mogaji, the one that died. They will be the richest people in the world by the time Tinubu has done 4 years. We are unambiguous and we are unapologetic. This is not our government. Though. We have accepted that our job will be to liberate this country. We have discussed what we will do for the country. There is nothing that I said in 2023 that has not come to pass since 2019. How can you help somebody to build a refinery and you cannot repair your own?
Okay, let's talk about that. How can you help somebody to build a refinery? It's referring to Dangote. How can we repair our own refinery, or how do we leave a full refinery and then end up bringing the crude oil from outside the country? And we can also tell you that because this is what the MD of the petroleum told the news in Nigeria 2 days ago.
No, we have marketing wing of our company. They adjust prices depending on the market realities, and this is really what it's about. This is the meaning of making sure that the market regulates itself, so that prices will go up and sometimes they will come down also. And this is really what we are seeing. In reality, this is how the market works.
Talking about market forces, demand and supply, does it mean we don't have enough supply in participants?
No, there's no supply issue completely. It is not a supply. When you go to the market, you buy the product, you come to the market and sell it at its ongoing.
So you can tell that it seems that there's a lot going on when it comes to Nigeria. And the last 30 seconds from Showore is this again.
The money that Dangote used in building his refinery came from the same NNPC they claim cannot manage refineries. I can say it and I can be quoted. I was the first person to say it, that Dangote cannot complete his refinery when Buhari went to commission the refinery. This Buhari that is now on the run.
Well, Buhari is no longer on the run. He left London back to Nigeria some few days ago. Star Radio UK, these were all part of the discussion yesterday on the Niger Voices.
Well, if it is out, yeah, you can keep up with that broadcast. Just at the Star Radio UK, Niger Voices, you can keep up. You can have a re-listen to it. But remember, it comes on every Wednesday exactly at 6 p.m. Okay, on 18 hours BST or 18 hours GMT +1, right? Good. Yeah. Okay, so now let's come to the substantive issues that we are looking at there. First of all, let's go to the football because 4 African countries representing the continent, but I can say from the sub-Saharan Africa area, we have Nigeria that is going to represent West Africa, let me put it that way. How prepared do you see this team and when are they playing and have all the bonuses and all those things be sorted out for them so that you don't have them playing and think, well, where is the money? Yomi.
Well, where is the money is not the issue here because, the team are focusing on their first game that is going to be with Canada. And, that is going to be played tomorrow at 3:30 local time back. We know that there's a huge time difference when you look at, New Zealand. New Zealand, as we speak right now, when you look at the time zone, it's just about coming up to just under, let's say, the time. I mean, it's just about almost late hour, when we talk about the time in New Zealand. So tomorrow, Nigerians are expected to play Canada. But something has always been the same issue. The same issue when it comes to paying these footballers that are representing the country. It seems that, it's still going to be the same. And the headline went further to say, Nigeria pay grips remain, but players focus on the World Cup, according to the coach. Melbourne, the Nigerian head into the Women's World Cup with a pay dispute still festering, but players have set aside their grievances to focus on their opening against Canada on Friday. Coach Randy said the Super Falcons have played their friendly with New Zealand, Haiti, and Costa Rica, but there is still something that is loghead with the Nigerian Football Association, and that is the usual thing when it comes to pay and condition. This time around, they haven't left their jersey behind at home. That will have been a long journey, but it seems that it's about the pay. And when it comes to pay, somebody is keeping that money somewhere so that they can get some kind of, interest on it. And that literally means that more Nigerians have to wait to see when these Super Falcons will be paid. when it comes to their allowances as they have been promised. But for now, they are focusing on the first game tomorrow that is going to be played between Nigeria and also Canada.
So is it that the federal government or the sports ministry has actually been given the budget for the tournament and it's not reached the players? Is that what they're trying to say?
Well, that is why we have budget. Nigeria has a budget every year, and budget comes into play when those that are in charge of the budget. And that was what somebody said yesterday, and I believe even today during the the program that we had this morning, that Bola Tinubu, the president, would not be able to be everywhere. He needs people to make even his vision and object and his reason for trying to fix Nigeria to work when people are ready to work with him. But Bola Tinubu is not going to be at my local government in Idioroko. Bola Tinubu is not going to be at my local government in Kaduna. He needs people, and when budget are put out, the Nigerian Football Association also has a budget. The question then is, what are they doing with the budget that would not allow a pay condition to those that is representing the country, quote and unquote, in a very beautiful World Cup like this, especially when they are women? Nigerian media reported that the team were considering, we don't know whether that is going to play out tomorrow, boycotting matches at the World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, but the coach said none of his players were opting out of the selection of the Canada tomorrow. But we've seen that when it comes to World Cup, there are so many cases of scenarios that could play out. Somebody might be putting on an outfit to say, I haven't been paid, and that will be the focus of the media, especially the Western media.
Okay, listeners, we wish Nigeria the best in all the African countries, but especially Nigeria, we wish Nigeria the best because they are representing West Africa. I might be biased, let me do it, yes. So, but we hope that the way Tinubu is cracking the whip, making sure that, left there, we think that he's done something dirty, let's jump in there. If any of his ministers are doing so, we need to crack the whip. And by so doing, though he's not in local government area, those people there will know that if Tinubu hears about this, he'll be in trouble and everybody will be throwing the line. What do you think about that? It is Starr Radio UK. Now let's move on to some of the other stories. We're talking about the fuel prices. We're talking about what Sowere's statement pertaining to the refinery and everything. Now, Nigeria produces food. Nigeria had refineries, say 3 or 4 refineries that are sleeping. Yet they are paying people for who are alleged to be working. I don't know what work they are doing there, but at least they are keeping some people there. All right, but. So how come Nigeria is, having a problem when it comes to fuel prices? Because it should be at least to have good fuel prices. Because here in the UK, you had the prices coming down because we were talking about the fact that the international price for crude oil has dropped, and therefore we seem to know it's not as low as, but pertaining to our standards, we think that, it's dropped a bit, it's good. So why are Nigerians not experiencing that? Rather, a hike in the fuel prices?
Well, for years, we've abandoned the refinery that is meant to provide, what it takes to assist Nigerians. So it also seems that, the government, the previous government and this government is looking forward to the Dangote refinery to help into solving some of these problems. Whether Dangote refinery will be able to do such is a question that a lot of Nigerians are waiting for. But what we do know is that when it comes to this fuel crisis, which is now biting a lot of Nigerians, more Nigerians are walking the street, trekking long hours. There hasn't been any protest yet on the street. It seems that the Labour Congress is still looking into what is going to happen between them and the federal government. But what I can say, going back to some of the headline that has come out of Nigeria, the fuel price hike is also going to mean that business operators are now panicking of fear of shutdown, and that will mean a lot of job loss. Bola Tinubu, is saying that, we just have to adapt to what is happening. How much time Nigerians will have to adapt? The hike to worsen manufacturer whose many small medium enterprise would die, according to the LCCI lament. The NLC, the Nigerian Labour Congress, is now considering emergency meeting. Guess what? The PDP slams the federal government as the rep have now summoned the NNPCL boss, which we heard his voice earlier. Members of the organized private sector yesterday are now expressing fear over a possible shutdown of businesses, job losses, following the hike in the pump price of the premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited and the fuel marketers. As we speak today, Nigerians are buying it from 670 naira per litre till about 630 naira per litre, and that is approximately more than what they were paying for, which was about 537 naira per litre as at last week.
Now, interestingly, we did talk about the fact that the fuel subsidies were removed long time ago. So if it was removed, how? See, I don't get it there. But if the subsidy was removed, how come that now that the president came to announce that, okay, this is what we've done. We're talking about whatever money is, how it's going to be saved, and we're talking about the fact that some are going to be used for this palliative that the president is now relooking at. So how come the prices have gone up? Because it wasn't being subsidized. Because apparently whether the money was being used for something else, we're not very, very sure of it. So, I mean, how can they justify the increment?
Well, it's all about, who brings the fuel into the country. And the argument is that the price of the crude oil outside the country as well is gone up. So that literally means that even though 54 people or different companies have put interest to import the fuel into the country to support the NNPC as well, because the NNPC cannot be able to bring in the fuel that is needed in Nigeria, even though there's always been the argument, how much fuel are we using? Because that has been the IMAC where people are told to pay certain amount of money. The subsidy. The reason why, the subsidy is going on is because of the fact that Nigerians are paying the price of the subsidy for more fuel that is traveling out of Nigeria into other countries like Ghana, Cameroon, as the president have said. So the president believes that he's not ready to fund, these anymore, and yet the price in the pump has gone up because of the cost of the landing of the petrol itself into the country.
Okay, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to 11:29. We are looking at some of the stories making the rounds. I say good morning to Aziz. Aziz, I hope you are doing very, very well as well. I say morning to Auntie and Mr. Koike there and the rest of the team. And we say morning to you, Aziz. We hope you are doing good. Mr. Madison, I said, kudos Starr Radio UK. Koike, my best regard. Our best regard to you and to all the team in that RDL office as well. We hope you are all doing good. All right then. Now let's move on to some of the other story that is making the rounds there. Now these are thousand and how many people who have been salvaged or saved from I don't get it. Do we still have things like that happening where it's like more times slavery that is going on?
Well, the NEPTI is saying, which is the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking Persons, the Kano Zonal Command said it has now rescued no fewer than 1,085 victims of human trafficking. Human trafficking is a big crime, especially if you try such here in UK. It is an unlawful act of transporting, coercing people in order to benefit from their work or services. So it's a huge crime that is something that should be eradicated. In UK, the modern slavery and human trafficking, which is under the National Crime Agency, the modern slavery and human trafficking, which has allowed thousands of people across the UK are being held in their own squalor. But this is not happening in UK. This is actually in Kano State, the northeast part of Nigeria today. So when we look at, the current situation when it comes to Nigeria, the public relation officer of the zone, Mr. Aliu Kali, disclosed this while speaking to the newsmen yesterday that over 1,085 victims a combination of 932 victims of irregular migration who were repatriated and handed over to the agency through the IOM, the International Organization Migration, in collaboration with the National Agency Management. He added that the Zonal Command review have also rescued 163 victims. And these are people traveling through Niger Republic, Libya, en route to European countries as well. I was looking at a data this morning that was quite a little bit very, very sad when we look at the amount of Africans that are trying to cross over and have died in that process. We're talking about huge numbers of them, and according to what we have, the United Nations International Organization for Migration that we just talked about, the IOM, has recorded the death and disappearance of around 57,000 irregular migrants across the world since 2014. The bodies of about 33,000 have been found, and yet about 20-something thousand people, their bodies have lost in the ocean.
Well, this is Starr ready to say, let me get to the time. The morning show. This is when I'm working on the studios. I'm actually here at the South Studios with updates from Nigeria. Good morning. It's our humble preacher, White Lion. Sarati, much love and respect. We salute you, sir. We hope you are doing very, very well. Okay, now let's move on to some other stories. Interesting one. Was it last year when the train attacks took place, but the court has ordered the secret trial of a Boko Haram negotiator? Why? Young.
Well, when we come to terrorism in Nigeria, it is still the highest in the world, but it seems that the president, with his new service chiefs, have a lot of work to do. Also, with the judiciary and the very better institution. But a train attack, a court has now okayed a secret trial of a Boko Haram negotiator. What do we know from the Federal High Court in Abuja yesterday? Granted an application by the federal government to protect the identity of the witness lineup to testify against an alleged terrorist collaborator, Tuka Mamu. We know that terrorism in Nigeria is a very, very huge one. So remember that there was an attack on the train, Kaduna, Abuja. But what we can tell you that the Kaduna train attack, court reject Tuka Mamu bail application. But this time around, it seems that there will now be a special trial. The Kaduna-based cleric, which the engineer gonna bring his face up in just about a few minutes as we continue to have the discussion, because terrorism in Nigeria is the reason why the Yorubas are saying that this union is not working. It's also the reason why the Biafra are saying that terrorism is happening, but there's more focus about the killings in the southeast. So this is the face of the individual in discussion this morning. So let's go back into the conversation. Is a Kaduna-based cleric and a publisher is actually facing trial with connection with the terror attack on the Kaduna-Abuja train. Remember that, during that attack, we lost a few Nigerians. Also, we lost Dr. Chinelo. Dr. Chinelo was just about almost 72 hours traveling out of Nigeria to Canada from what we were told. But unfortunately, he got caught up. She got caught up, in that death. I mean, when I saw the video of her, we can't show that video. It's quite terrifying because she was dying at the last hour, posted it on the Twitter space that a train has been attacked. Nigerians were actually attacking her and making a joke of her, even though she was actually dying because she was from the southeast of Nigeria, and the individual that was joking about it was from the north, saying that maybe the attack was in the southeast, even though the attack was happening between Abuja and Kaduna. So Dr. Chinelo died in that attack that we are discussing right now. So Mamu, who was arraigned in March this year, is facing 10 counts bordering on terrorism, financing, and others. Remember that, he was accused of receiving ransom payment to the tune of $120,000. We're not talking about this individual. We're talking about this individual that is now on a trial for the attack on the Abuja-Kaduna train attack. And when you fast track a little bit further, the family of one other individual that was killed, the body was returned back to Maryland, and it will be a year that we also lost him and 2 individuals in the southwest. He actually returned back to Nigeria to create job opportunity. But as you can see in that picture, 27th of this month will make it exactly 1 year that we lost this brother and a father and an uncle to the terrorism attack. And when the family sent a message to me yesterday, I almost thought it is just yesterday, because when we talk about people that are killed, Owolabi was one of them. He died. Oluwagbenga David Owolabi with Rachel, the young woman, were both killed by Fulani terrorists in the southwest of Ogbomosho, and as of today, there's still no charges against those that perpetrated the crime. The family will be celebrating the 1st year on the 27th of July this month.
Okay, listeners, it is now for the UK. It is your favorite African Caribbean radio station in London. Somebody said that if that will bring justice, why not? Somebody says, I said it 2 months ago, postulating Nigerian economy, that the Nigerians will cry for 4 years under President Tinubu. Tinubu did not mean evil, but Nigeria is not repairable without arresting looters. And that I said, we need to crack the whip. That is what is happening. Because of what I say, citizens cannot suffer or loss they knew nothing about, while criminals that cause those economic hazards are working free. That is why it is called Nigeria. My goodness. Well. Wherever you are listening to us from, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 11:38 the time. Let's look at one other story before I hand over to Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Now, amnesty given to genuine Niger Delta agitators cannot be extended to murderers and bandits. Edwin Clark questions Ahmad Gumi Yerima. Now, what are they talking about there? I mean, amnesty is amnesty. The government decide that, well, these people, with what is going on, we think that will be the only way to restore peace. They can go on with that. But he said that it's not going to be extended to some others. What do they mean by that? Yeah.
Well, when it comes to amnesty, remember that a lot of people disagree that there should be amnesty given, to the situation of some of the atrocity, especially the northern part of the country. Do not believe that somebody, should be given amnesty, even though amnesty was offered during the late Yaradua when he died, before he died, as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But what do we know by the Edwin Clark, one of the elder statesmen of the Southeast? Amnesty given to genuine Niger Delta agitators cannot be extended to murderous bandits. And this is because Yerima told Bola Tinubu during a visit to the presidency a few weeks back that Bola Tinubu should consider giving amnesty to the bandit. He went further to say that's the former Zamfara state governor, where his state was wreckage with the Fulani terrorists and those that are calling bandit, because there's nothing called bandit, they are all the same. But the federal government, under the previous government, the president this time around hasn't made any mentioning whether the word bandit will be changed to terrorists, but he was calling them bandit, that these are people that are just hungry and they can kill Nigerians, just as Mr. Gbenga Owolabi was killed a day after he arrived in Nigeria to set up a business that is already in operation. He had an hotel, he had a farm. 1 year down the line, the bandit that killed him have not been apprehended. The bandit that killed Rachel have not been apprehended. Millions of naira to the tune of almost 9,000 pounds was paid, but yet both were still gone dead, and the other woman, Rachel, was raped as well. This is another bandit that took away. This man is not a madman. He was kept in the dungeon of the bandits, so-called, for so many months until ransom were paid. Is a bus driver equivalent in Nigeria. It was much bigger than this, but he lost weight. And the question now that Edwin Clark is saying that giving bandits this amnesty is not the right situation and the right way presently. But it seems that whether Bola Tinubu would be able to do that. So Edwin Clark, the picture behind you, stated it was criminal to compare the legitimate demands of agitators of the South-South region to the blood-sucking bandit in the north. Nigerian elder statesman and Niger Delta leader Pa Edwin Clark has taken a swipe at those equating the amnesty program in the South-South region with the calls for amnesty for the bandits and terrorists in the northern region, saying it was a criminal to think in that direction. The leader of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, Pandef, said it was criminal to compare the legitimate demands of agitators of the South-South region to the blood-sucking bandit in the north.
Well, listeners, it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, 11:42. We don't give up for the rest of the show. Over to you, Jack.
Well, as the Yoruba continue to encourage more Nigerians, to go out, more Yorubas to find access to farming, Okoetile, which means that you don't need a big farm. You can get a bucket, you can get a basket, get the soil, get the fertilizer, cut the small yam, and grow that food, because the current situation in Nigeria, you would not be able to get part of the 8,000 naira, which is still being reviewed, because it is only for 12 million Nigerians, and we literally have more Nigerians. So growing that food known as Okwetile is an initiative that was put together by barrister Mrs. Janet Fashakin, a member of the Yoruba Self-Determination Group, that has told the Yorubas that don't wait to farm the big one, at least the one that you can consume between yourself and your family. It is called Okwetile, which literally stands for growing that farming within the complex of your environment, and that will solve the food crisis in Nigeria. As pressure continues to grow, whether Bola Tinubu will bring in, Ganduje, as part of his team, there's even rumor out there that Ganduje might end up becoming the new APC chairman. Well, we don't know yet, but we have to wait. Also, as the 2 weeks lockdown is getting closer in the southeast, which is expected to start from the 31st of July, it also seems that the government in exile of the Biafra is giving directives to all those that has what it calls petroleum companies in the southeast to be wary of what is about to start. And this is coming from the Prime Minister government in exile of the Biafra, Simon Ekpa, in a public announcement. During the 2-week sit at home, stay clear from anything Nigeria within the Biafra territory. The Biafra civil engineers will also be restructuring many structures. Also, we urge every Nigerian institution within the Biafra territory to lower the Nigerian flag from the 28th of July 2023. This is mandatory according to the public announcement. Also, he went further. For clarity, all international oil companies will shut down operation from the 28th of July as directed by the Biafra Republic government in exile, not just the Shell and the Shell Oil Company. So you can tell that there's still tension in that region as the Biafra continue to say, releasing Nnamdi Kanu so that we can go back into the round table. If otherwise, we will continue with what we called our civil disobedience. So that is still what is going to happen from the announcement there. As we wait, everyone, for what is going to be the outcome of the election petition tribunal. There has been a lot of Nigerians that have been saying different things, and I've been reading from them. Some are advising that let us not go out and do any protest yet until the outcome of the election tribunal. We heard also that Tinubu is legal team, not him precisely, but Olanipe Okunwole says there might be anarchy if Tinubu is withdrawn from this presidency as we speak right now. And all that is due to the fact that they believe that the 25% that Peter Obi and Atiku is shouting about is nothing to be worried about, because 25% is just part of Nigeria. FCT is just the number 38. So talking about the these 25% is not really worth looking into. As we continue to ask questions, where is Daddy Yati? Daddy Yati got missing in Kaduna as a critic of the former governor of Kaduna, but it seems that 3 years down the line, nobody knows the location of Daddy Yati. At exactly 47 minutes past, I go straight into more of what is happening on the social media. Buhari seems to be trending. It seems that more Nigerians are now saying maybe Buhari should come back. I'm not sure whether it's the right thing. Also, yesterday, there was a kind of a panic when David Odoye was stopped in Zimbabwe for more than 7 hours. I'm not sure why African countries operate in that such manner. He was put back on the flight after so much pressure with the social media support. David Odoye has now left Zimbabwe en route back to Addis Ababa to pick up his connecting flight. The question then is, if we are Africans, why is it proving difficult to travel within the African region when it should be as easy as just an European country that are moving around, not even traveling using the airplane? Some can drive into those countries, but that is not happening. And that is just as it is right now. So on the last note on the social media, where the argument is, will the Chief Justice in charge of this petition resign in time? Well, I don't know yet, but Jackson Udo, update, Justice Ugo yet to resign despite pressure. Justice Bolo Kuromo M. Ugo of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal is yet to resign despite pressure being mounted for him and 2 others to do so, according to the new information available this morning. Should we say that there's pressure on the election petition judges to resign so that there could be what we called a favorite to one side of the party or the other way around? Well, I don't know yet, but like I said, we just have to wait until all these will come to play. This is how far we can go on the Star Radio UK network this morning. And as we say, may Nigeria not happen to you. Kalu Aja, the annual bridge in Delta State was opened on June 20, 2023, cost $700 million, raised from the securitization of 10% gas pipeline revenue to a 75-year bond. What a masterpiece. I'm going to come back again to you in the studio. If this is in Nigeria, maybe that hope is why some are saying, let us not divide this country. There might still be hope, but some say that hope is already fading out, and it's fading very, very fast. And that is the masterpiece that he's talking about.
Yes, with us. I don't know. Thank you very much to each and everyone. Okay, I've got it. That's the bridge behind him there. That bridge that he was talking about. Is it that bridge that you were talking about? That
yes.
And it's been a gas pipeline has been given to it for how many years? 75 years. And I think the people will make so much profits from it. Because people have got those monies in the country that can be used to. Before we go, now I'm talking about sending a dedication to Bola Tinubu. Have been any updates from there?
Well, it's still in planning. We've not been told when Bola Tinubu will be able to receive them, because it has to be a process. Is the president, a letter must be sent, and then timing must be given. He's been welcoming a lot of different dignitaries. Day before yesterday, we saw the Benin Republic President Patrick Talon and the African ECOWAS President and other African leaders paying a courtesy visit, so many traditional rulers. But we have to wait until there is clarification of when this visit is going to happen, when Baba Akintoye, the leader of the Yoruba self-determination, will be announcing that. But for now, all we are told is that a delegation will be sent to the president to discuss the quest, the inalienable right of the Yoruba people to self-determination, and how we can move this further without any kind of confrontation between the Yorubas that wants to live and have a good neighbors left behind, and the present government that wants to repair Nigeria as the Titanic that has sunk already.
Well, maybe there is hope for the Titanic. Maybe it can be raised. But at times, if you look at this Titanic, the way it sank, and again, any boat or any vessel trying to go down there, sink as well, people lose their life. Don't say, what is the point? But Bishop Adesina says, Nigeria is in Cold War. The international organization already identified that. So Nigeria is on the target list. Any Nigerian politician cannot run anywhere anymore. Can that not be? Let us have your comments. And thank you very much for joining us as well. Bayomi, before you go.
Well, it is the Thursday edition, and that means that there's still much to be discussed during the course of the program on the Star Radio UK network, when I'll be back again same time tomorrow as we continue to monitor the fuel pump price, as we continue to monitor the situation on the ground. But for now, we're going to focus back into other countries around the globe on the Star Radio UK. I'll be back again tomorrow, and let's say have a very good morning to all our listeners and those that have connected on the sister broadcast as well. I'll be back again tomorrow. Bye for now, Mr. Archie.
Thank you very much.
All right. The pain is too much, okay? The pain is too much. Somebody is saying the pain is too much. Thank you so much, Mr. Jai. Samuel Oluwagbemiga. Ben, you take 1 year already. Time fast, while everybody is running their lives. The family of Babawati Oshalaisi, Lamadi Akajo Buruku, àwọn terrorists, wọ́n ti ṣe jàmbá tó pọ̀. The country thank pé Nigeria. Anyway, I gotta go now. Probably come back later where we have more other programs. Mo kí gbogbo wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí o. Mo kí ọmọdé, mo kí àgbàlagbà. Olúkálùkù mọ̀ pé Nigeria is what it is. We pray for our people, but our people must understand there is no more hope. Àwa ti sọ, Yoruba nation, àwa dúró lé lórí. It's entirely up to you to still believe in one Nigeria. That is not my own cup of tea. That is your own problem. My problem is to continue to educate so many of our people while we need to leave this contraction, this unity that is no longer working. It's just the beginning. If anybody tells you Nigeria is going to work, I beg, just run away from those kind of people. Bye for now. Koiki Media, bringing the world closer to our doorsteps.